Hey, good morning. Back in the shop, taking some stuff apart. I've been gluing the tops on these boxes. The young Kohai has been putting some of the boxes together, gluing them up. They can take 8 clamps on each one, maybe more in some cases, some places 10. So that it sort of started running out of clamps. Had to break into the iron C-clamp division, which is funny. And some of my, there's nothing at all wrong with these, but they're tough to use. They're wiggly. Anyway, so there's that, and this is one of the boxes, like those, all glued up, and it has its top on. The idea of the top is it makes the whole thing flat and reinforces the top panel here. I'll clean up a little bit of glue, and then we'll be able to start measuring for the little dividers, which ideally are 3-inch, but they're all going to be a little teeny bit less than that, I think. But they're going to go in sort of like that and tapped into place with a little bit of glue. And then the boxes get feet, and then it's ready to start finishing the boxes while we get going on making drawers. So that's how that's going to go. Let me get this divider out. I wish I hadn't done that now. They're a little bit big, right? I said that. Well, okay. I'm not intimidated. This is going to come out. Maybe tap it with a hammer. That's how these things work. There we go. Dividers. So, anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to clean these things up. I've got 3 of these things with tops glued right now, laying about. I'll do some cleanup on those, and then that'll leave me those boxes, the 3 that are on the bench right now, to clean, bits of glue that's buffed up, and then glue tops on. I'll have plenty of clamps for that because there's nothing else going on. And then I can get going on getting some materials made for the backs. Backs are going to be like 3/16" pieces of pine, 9.5 inches wide, and 14 3/4 inches long, or something like that. Anyway, I want to, because it's 1/4 inch, 3/16, I want to get 2 pieces out of a board. So I want to resaw them with my bandsaw. My bandsaw doesn't have 9.5 inch capacity. It only goes to 8. So I'm going to have to actually saw smaller pieces and glue them together. But I will do that. We'll get a kick out of it. So let's do a little cleanup, and we'll move on to the next thing. Because the mission for the day is to get the stock for the back selected, sawn out, and at least preliminarily glued. So I love this Gorilla Glue, but it foams any place that it gets a chance to. So you have to clean up the foamy part. But it cleans up really easily. It's everywhere, but it's really easy. Here I'm just taking an edge tool and driving it down through the glue joint, or through the glue at the edge of the joint, and then coming in from the side, and that's gone. Do that. I will, just to make certain, I will take a tiny piece of sandpaper, fold it up nicely, and get a nice crisp edge on it, and use it to sort of sand right into the corner. Like that. A little bit bent down. And when I do that, it sort of shows any place that there's any glue left. It makes a little fuzzy looking spot. And having done that, it just knocks right out. And I'll do the side. And that looks great. Good. And now this side, one little bit right there. I use the same drive it down technique. Sharp tools, right? Yeah. Do that. Nothing to it. Nothing to it. All right, now a little teeny spot in the back. Doesn't much matter because I'm going to put a backing plate on this thing, but let's get this glue out of the way. And there's that. So, good to go. Ready for, I guess, dividers are the next thing in this, and then we'll put the back on. But loving it. Can't wait. It's always something. Nice. The clamps that I used have pads on them, little plastic pads on the surfaces, so they don't make much of a dent, but does no harm to just pass a little 220 sandpaper over it. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. This looks great. So great painted. Move on to another one. This is one of the cherry ones. Let me move some of these clamps away. Loving this. Well, this one doesn't come out often. Okay, so moving right along, 6 clamps. Right. Okay, so how do we do in this one? Oh yeah, this has got a lot of glue sticking out. Lots. A little bit here too. Looks good. And now the same thing here, overdid a little bit on this edge too. A little bit too much glue and out it comes. And I guess it's funny, right? I guess. Fortunately, as good as this glue is, hard as it gets, in the foamy state, it has very little real strength. Which is good, right? What's that? It, you know, it just cleans up so well. I mean, it's too bad I have to go through all the cleanup process, but cleans up real well. The first thing I put on this stuff for finish is going to be a coat of shellac, which will seal all of this, and if there's any teeny bits of glue residue left over, it'll seal over the top of it, and it won't make a color change, which is the other big thing we're always worried about with glue. It's going to change the color. And we've all had it happen. Two tiny little spots in the back, which is good. Excellent. All right, so there's that one. These things are looking better and better. Pretty exciting. All right, one more. It's a good day when you use all your clamps. It's just, it means that life is worth living, once again. These are the Kohai's clamps. I've never had anything as complicated as these. I don't know that I like them, but he brought them. That's good. How do we do in the back? Close. I won't say perfect, but close. And side's perfect. This side's got one little smudge right there. And the front, not a mark. Perfect. Perfect. Wow. All right, got just the right amount of glue on that one. And it's pretty flat. Liking this a lot. All right. Now, it's time to take one of these things apart. This one, with all the clamps on it, got a little bit askew, and so we used an old trick of clamping square to the thing to pull it that last little bit into square, because having these things square is important, sort of. So we've got a couple of spring clamps on those, like that. And this right here, it just works so well. That's great. take these off. I'm going to have a party just putting clamps on. Pretty good. Joints are all tight. A little bit of glues come out. Whole glue story over and over again. Nice and square. Oh yeah, just great. All right, let's do some cleanup. Be good. And then I'll slap a top on this, and we'll be on track. On track. On track is good. I have another chisel out somewhere. Not that one. Not that one. Ah, here. I have a little 3/4 inch chisel that I like to do these with. All right. Looks good. Looks good. Cool. It's up just a teeny bit. It's the time to do the trimming, right? Good. That's pretty good. Good. Okay. All right. Now we'll do a little sanding on it, and that should take care of it. Real good. Pretty nice. Just a little bit. Let me bring it down here. I'll show you something. So here we are. This is a little bit of a close-up on the corner of one of the boxes. So I got this little white-ish, light-colored like almost a halo in this joint. So a little teeny bit of glue. This is a little bit lower than this surface, and there's a little bit of glue showing on the edge. Not much. I mean, it's hardly there. But I'm going to knock it. I've got some, I think this is 220 sandpaper. Pretty fine. There. And I can still see a little bit of it. You can see it probably even better than I can. Well, that's going to vex me. I don't think I can go any deeper without making a dislocation. So that's what I'm dealing with. Hopefully when I shellac that will shellac over and be uniform in color. I've also got a little bit of a nick right there. That's not a nick, it's just a discoloration. A little more sanding. A little more sanding. Am I moving this around too much? Okay, I'm going to back you out a little bit. Got a little mark there also, so let's try to sand from here down and over, here down. Try well, that improved this a lot. I can't even see it now. This didn't go away. Oh well. Oh, part of the charm. I'm not disappointed, it's just I didn't get what I wanted. It's different than being disappointed. This means I'll have to try harder next time. So moving it around, got a similar issue over here. On the paint grade stuff, this won't matter. But on this stained stuff, or natural finish stuff, it's going to show. This is a little high. It's time to be critical. Much better. Good. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll move along. It's so much fun working with young people. Look at this thing. I've got clamps sticking out in every direction as far as they can. Rather than putting all the clamps in one direction so that you could store this someplace while you're getting the next piece done. This is so young person, you know, just, anyway, great, we got through it, it's fine. So we'll get some clamps off, and we'll see how we did on this one. We had the same, or similar problem with this one, didn't clamp up quite square, so we had to throw some adjusters on, and it wasn't like the thing was made of crooked pieces of wood. It's just we clamped a little bit askew in a couple of places, and it causes this little parallelogram to shift a little bit. Not much. Can't shift much. These things are in the joint. They're housed. So it's just a little bit. Putting a little bit of clamp pressure on a square. I like to use my steel square for that because it's a little bit stronger than the aluminum ones. But here we are. Anyway, so let's pull this apart and see how we did. Get some clamps off. Right. Little pads, pieces of plywood. These long ones I waxed so that we could put them against these joints that were being glued and not have to worry about them sticking. Good move. Alright. And now just do a quick survey. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. That's just beautiful. That worked. Either that or we bent the square. That could be two. All right, so now we've got this glued up. The top is relatively, sides of the top and bottom relatively flat. This one's a little bowed up. We put the top plate on, that will help. That joint's great. This joint is real good. Got a little bit of glue ooze in the corners. This is nice. All I have to do is get this stuff out of the way. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's never going to be seen. Not part of the problem. Just need to be able to have it smooth enough to put it back on. And now, a little bit tedious. I don't know if you'll see this. This is my nemesis. Let me pull you down here. A little bit of glue oozed out of the joint. Right there. And so, you know, it's going to be, obviously can't leave it there because it's going to be in the way of a drawer sliding through. So I have to get in there and clean it up. But here's the thing. No one's ever going to get inside here other than me in the drawer. So as long as it's smooth enough for the drawer to pass, I don't have to worry about it. In other words, I can just leave it scraped. And that's all I have to deal with. Great. So I'll do that. I'll go around and chase all those spots, of which I have to say the Unco-High's glue technique was good. Better than mine. Not much for trouble here. A little bit here and there. I mean, this is whether you have any control, you know, just pump too much glue in or not. This is nice. Okay, and a little bit there. That's great. That's it. I don't have to deal with that at all. Just because it's near the front, I'll pass a little sandpaper over it. This is coarser than I want. I don't want coarse sandpaper. Huh. I had a finer piece. I'll use this. I can see a little bit. Not bad. Great. All right. So I need to sand the top a little bit. I need to sand the faces of this a little bit. I've got some burn marks in places. I think this one I'll actually take a plane to it first. A little bit proud. Little. In. Little proud. Perfect. In tiny bit. Little proud. So I got some touch up. We'll wash that. Alright, so get some spots. Good. Down just a teeny bit. Good. So up just a teeny bit. There's that. This is up a little bit. Oh, wrong direction. Wrong direction. I should have looked at the grain first. Better. There you go. Got that burn mark. This is, check the grain. Grain is rising. A little teeny bit high. Good. Better. Perfect. Teeny bit high. Grain rising. Keeping the heel of the plane over another piece, so I won't do that and make this out of plane. Other kind of plane. Same kind of plane. Alright. Anyway, got that. This one's a little bit high. Check the grain. Can't really quite tell. Looks like it's rising, so I'll do the same sort of trick like this. Nice. Just nice. Alright, good. Do a little quick sand. Everything's dressed up. Ready to move on. Okay, so sandpaper's still working. I'm going to keep it for a bit. Nice. Oh, good. Quick pass on the bottom. Good enough for paint grade. Sides have already been sanded. Now the top, got a little teeny bit of dislocation there, and a little teeny bit of dislocation with some glue out there, but otherwise it's good. This is pretty much played out, but maybe I'll make it. Yeah, now that came out real well. Great. So, box goes like this. Top goes on it. Got a top right here. His name is Paul Revere. And if the glue pours rightly, it'll go on like that. The trick here is I put a Cavetto. The young Kohai actually did this. He did a great job. He put a Cavetto on this piece, and now it hangs over about 1/2 of an inch there, and about 1/2 of an inch there, and about 1/2 of an inch there, because that's how carpenters think. Things should wrap equally around carpenters. Yeah, and you know, something like that. Anyway, we'll do a little actual measurement when the time comes to clamp this on, but that'll take care of that. We'll flatten the top. It'll provide a cornice to the piece. This is how to make a really simple, just the least number of pieces of wood look like something. That's what this is all about. Getting this to look like it's a piece of furniture without spending a lot of time putting moldings on, but still have it somewhat enriched. The real drama of this piece, if there is any, is how tightly we will be able to get the drawers to fit. That's really the trick. Getting the drawers to fit tightly on all of the pieces. It's 90 drawers, which is why we're being so careful about how we lay these things out and how we're doing this all the same sequencing repetitively, so that we can keep a close watch on these dimensions. Try to keep as close as we can the tolerances from one to the next, so that we can mass produce the drawers, and they will all interchangeably fit with small amounts of tiny bits of touch up to make them fit snugly in each of these openings, and then it'll have, you know, a certain amount of drama to it, and it'll look kind of pleasant. You'll see. I swear you'll like it when we're done. Moving along. One more carcass to work out. That's all 10 of them are done. And then 1, 2, 3 tops, 4 tops to put on. And then start working on the backing material. We'll see in a minute. All right, so the next thing on my list of things to do is get these 4 little boxes, get the tops glued on. And to that end, I've got my little sponge here with some water, because Gorilla Glue, I'm using Gorilla Glue. The Gorilla Glue, I'm told, is You know, they say slightly dampened. I'm led to believe, right, that it's catalyzed or accelerated by water. I've seen people mix water with it and it goes quickly. I assume it's something about the water. I do know that I've had two Gorilla Glue joints let go on me in the past. Both times I hadn't wetted them. Every other time I've dampened, moistened, whatever, the surface, it's worked out. So, we're gonna be religious about it. So this is a cherry box, so we'll get a cherry top. Cherry top like that. It's already prepped. Sanded the edges of the Cavetto. Sanded the bottom, because a little bit of it shows. Okay, I've got my glue outline. I don't need glue in the middle. You can't put this on and move it around because that's going to smear glue, so you got to get close before you touch down. And I don't know if anybody's going to be excited by this or not, but I'm just eyeballing that. It's got to be good enough. All right, so now clamp. Want to get a clamp in the middle of the top so that I can because the long bar clamps have a tendency to make things wander a little bit. This has got a funny profile on the top, so I'm actually going to put two clamps on. Get a little bit of a whoopsie doodle in it. I don't like it. So I'm going to pull that out with two clamps because this joint is seen. There we go. Nice. Nice. I put it on sticks so that the back edge is in line with this. So that's all good. And now I'll throw a couple of clamps on. We'll do that on the bottom so we won't scar it. And we'll do this on the top. And these are just long enough. That's great. So we'll do that. Come on, over a little bit. There we go. So that'll snug. I'm getting a little bit of ooze. I'm just going to ignore it. Going to ignore it. And that. Good. And that there. And do that. And do that. There we go. Snug down. Snug, snug, snug. All good. One in the back. Maybe, right? Right there. Throw a little clamp on. Everything will be fine. There we go. Set this aside. Get the next one. This one's Popple. Great. Top. You know the drill. Dampen. I'm particularly concerned about the end grain. End grain has a tendency to draw the glue, and sometimes you can draw enough glue out that you will starve the joint. Starving the joint, right? You don't want that. Hard to know how much glue. All right, now back to that. Eyeball this thing and get close, because I don't want to be moving it around. And that looks great. That looks great. Just plate on the bottom before I forget. Now, throw this clamp on the top. All right, and that looks like it could go that way a smidge. I don't think I care. Do I care? All right, that's it. Done caring. All right, so there's that. And now I'll throw that like that, that like that, that like that. Good. All right, our clamp. Good, good. All right, that's great. Take a look at the back, see how I did. Boy, there's no reason to do anything, but I'm just going to throw something in there anyway. Because there's always a reason. Perfection, right? No. The glue foams. I hate to think that in the process of foaming it pushes that apart. So, like this, it's good. All right. All right, I've got two more. You've seen it. I'll bring you back.